All right, and I think we're ready to kickstart this. What's going on, everyone? And what the heck? How are you all doing tonight? Welcome to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 185, the place for Xbox talk and more from around the industry. I'm your host, Invader, and you know what, guys? Earlier today, we had the Xbox and Bethesda E3 showcase. We had some new game announcements, gameplay, and so much more. You know, I don't want to really eat up too much time with an introduction, as I'm sure, you know, we all just want to dive into here, everybody on the podcast, just to like really dive into the meat of the Xbox and Bethesda show. But first, let me introduce everyone on tonight's panel. And as everybody starts filing in here, everybody starts to get comfy. With us tonight is our friend. He's been on here before, the host of the RDX podcast. Please welcome Dealer Gaming. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Just Xbox.
Oh. Dealer?
It just said his connection must have dropped. We'll come back.
All right. Let's see here. All right, guys. We'll go over to TXR panel members first. Tim, let's go with you, buddy. You know, we have lots to discuss. Ready to get into things?
Oh yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So instead of Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not used to doing this from my phone. I closed out of the stupid app. But yeah, go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
No, just the floor is yours, Dealer. I just wanted to say, nothing. I'm waiting to get into the topics.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I was just gonna say Xbox needed so much energy. Because they had so much stuff going on today, they sucked all the energy out of us. They used our energy, right? So we're all kind of like half dead. But you know what? I'm cracking a Red Bull for you here, Invader. And I guess it's good to have excitement and positivity about the brand. I'm on some shitty headphones, excuse me, but it's the only way I could join tonight. Seriously though, I don't know about y'all, but I thought the showcase was fantastic. I don't understand how people are talking about sevens and shit, but. Hey, we'll get into all that, I guess, huh?
Yeah, we'll get into that really, really quick, buddy. You just chug that Red Bull. All right, next up, Centurion, buddy. Hey, how you been? Excited to get into things?
Totally, man. It has been a good Sunday. E3 has got me hyped. We have Dealer Gaming here. What more could I ask for, man? Tonight's going to be a hot show.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. Let's see. Up next, we got Shockley, buddy. Eric, you looking forward to talk about today's big show?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a great kind of roadmap to see, how we pretty much know most of their next gen projects for the next few years. So that's kind of cool to know what's coming. So, but yeah, ready to get into it and go over what our thoughts were.
All right. Yeah, we will get into things just in a minute. Just a reminder, guys, that you can find us on a number of audio platforms. We're available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and many others. Just give us a search for more TXR listening options, because, hey, options are great, right? All right, and without further delay, let's talk about everything that we saw at Xbox and Bethesda's E3 showcase, our likes, dislikes, whatever it may be, right? Dealer, my friend, I'll start off with you, but I'll kickstart it off. I know that you had a show earlier on today discussing, your reactions. Where to really begin here? I mean, Xbox decided to kick off their show with Starfield. What do you think?
I think a lot of things about Starfield, but I still don't know what it is exactly until I guess they talked about it being a space exploration, think, what do you say? Think Han Solo, right? So apparently you'll be getting out and kind of exploring the galaxy, and you'll be flying your ship around and just kind of, that's the thing, right? Skyrim in space is what he said. But I don't know what that really means. It doesn't really matter because it looks pretty cool. I watched the 1080p stream, and I got to stress this to everybody. If you watch the 1080p stream, go back and watch the 4K one because it's not the resolution that you're missing out on that really makes a difference. Is the bit rate. So when they upload that full 4K version, it's at probably 5 times the bit rate of that stream we watched. And the more busy a scene is, it's just so much information and so much blocking, right? Macro blocking. It really just ruins what can really actually still look pretty good. So it'll look way better if you go back and look at that 4K stuff because the bit rate's already there. And I really recommend it. Starfield looks a lot better if you go back and look at it. It looks really, really good. And as far as I know, it's like you said, Skyrim in space. That's from Todd Howard, and Han Solo. He was referenced in the same quote. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, next year, right? So
yeah,
that'll be fun. 11/11/2022.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see that we finally, are getting some dates now. And yeah, Starfield, yeah, it's 11/11/2022. So we still got a little while to wait, but at least we have a set date there. And this game has been in the works for quite some time. It doesn't seem like they're rushing it out. I know a lot of people are kind of worried about some Bethesda games because of, some previous instances from some more recent releases. So I think they'll have a lot. I think it'll be polished, or at least a lot more polished, which would be nice. And yeah, just judging from that trailer, I know that it was just a like a CGI trailer, but like it had a lot of really cool elements in there.
It was in game. They said like in the game, probably cinematic, kind of like what they showed off with like Horizon last year when they showed no gameplay, but that was in engine or in game footage.
Right. Yeah. In game engine.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my interpretation is you're basically in space, and you're part of the role playing strategy is you go to different locations, different on parts of space, uninhabited parts, undiscovered parts, and you could have a space exploration. It's Skyrim in space. I mean, for me, that sounds really super cool. So the concept, I think that they're definitely onto something there. I think it's going to be a very good game. That it's from the makers of Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls. So I'm very excited. I would have liked to see a little more gameplay, but I understand that they put together this and. For me, it's good enough because they really locked down the exclusivity part, and I think that was the part that they needed to emphasize, because still to this day, for whatever reason, people can't get past the fact that this is exclusive. They double down, triple down on exclusivity. It looked good, like Dealer said, night and day. I saw it. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And then I watched it on the 4K, and I was like, yeah, that's super impressive. So you have to watch the 4K version to really, just the whole conference looks completely different. But very happy with Starfield, and it was a great way to start the show. Todd Howard opening the show. It was a nice spot.
And what most of us didn't think was going to happen is because we thought, oh, sure, how are they going to make this exclusive? Because they probably were working on a PS4 copy. Well, no, it's next gen. It's not coming to Xbox One. So it's all in a new engine. So that's pretty sweet. And if you think about just the level of detail they put into Skyrim and like Fallout and those types of games, and just think of that like in space, like that's got me excited. So even though we don't know a whole lot about it, you can kind of know where they come from and the games they build and how deep they are in the dialogue. So we can kind of have an idea.
People thought that it was going to be exclusive because there was a PS4 copy in development.
I heard people talking about like, hey, there's no way. Like, the people that have been saying, hey, there's no way that, they're going to keep these games exclusive. At least, the games that were already in development, because surely they had a PS4 build before Microsoft bought them.
Even if they do, I mean...
It's only
have a PS4 build, it doesn't really matter. Like the company was acquired, and if Microsoft sees it fit to use that product to lure you to their service, which is why they even bought these studios in the first place, then that's what they'll do. They'll put that bitch on the shelf. They ain't really too worried about it, right? So
think about it. The game's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on mobile with way even better xCloud than it is now on next gen xCloud. Basically. So I mean, they got anybody who wants to play it, just pick up a phone. You can get into it and check it out. So
yeah, we're sorry to the guys that didn't believe what everyone was saying, what we were saying
didn't
about
believe in
how
$7.5 billion.
Yeah, they didn't believe in, and they thought this was a joke. They thought they bought this stuff to sell you a copy of their game and give Sony 30% off the top. No way. So it's time to get an Xbox.
Yeah, and it's not like they're. I mean, okay, it's not going to be on PlayStation, but it's not like it's only going to be locked to one platform either. Like you guys were basically saying, you're going to have it on Xbox, you're going to have it on PC, you're going to have it on xCloud streaming. Like
you're probably going to have it on TVs, like they've been shown off by that time this comes out. So.
It's going to be anywhere where Game Pass is. So
yeah.
I mean, if PlayStation wants to allow Game Pass, I mean, it won't happen, but it's just...
what's really funny that I noticed is that all the PlayStation exclusives that we know of coming out 2022, and as of right now that we know, are cross-gen games, and all 2022 Xbox exclusives are next-gen exclusives. It's kind of weird how that got flipped.
I don't think they are next-gen exclusives. I don't think Horizon 5 is one either.
Oh, well, that's this year. But, like, all the 2022 games, like, obviously...
I don't think Motorsport is either. They've already got that up and running on older systems.
Yeah, I think so.
When they announced it, they did not list Xbox One like
I get that. I'm just saying I'm talking to people that are playing it right now, and that is running on an Xbox One right now. So there's no reason to keep that off of those systems, especially in a year where you're not going to be able to even sell consoles hardly. So I'm just saying it's a high possibility, and there's no technical reason why they should hold it off. I mean, we've seen how Horizon 5 looks so damn good. Like that game looks incredible, and it's going to be running on your 2013 Xbox One.
Yeah. Although I mean, they're holding off Starfield. Apparently, that's all next gen and. So,
yeah, well, what he said. What did he say about that? He said we needed the technology and the engine
and
all
hardware.
that stuff. So I'm guessing they have something to do with like getting from planet to planet, and which is gonna be really really cool. That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
they've been good about listing Xbox One on the titles that like have them and then didn't have them. So that's what makes me think like, okay, if they don't list Xbox One there, at least they don't plan at least at launch for it to go there. Otherwise, at least they've been really good about listing it. But.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a next gen title. They have been, unlike some other people, very straightforward in regards to where it's showing up and if it's next gen only. It's funny because the generations, we don't believe in generation stuff and all that stuff. Xbox seems to have more next generation games announced than Sony by a good bit. You have
Godfall was taken off that list.
yeah.
That was a thing, right, Tim? I thought the SSD was. Randy Pitchford said, "I don't know if we can be doing the Xbox."
It's it's funny. You look at some of those quotes. Last night, I think Cult was putting it up. Some of the quotes that these developers were saying, "Oh, it's flat out not possible." And they were really, like totally like,
they were thrown under the bus is what they were.
Yeah. And then this happens. It just goes to show you that you got to be, you tread water lightly with that. I mean, it's just, what developers say. Sometimes they just flat out don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
Publishers do.
Right? That's proof, right?
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
They said it was not possible on last gen. That's why we're making it only in this gen. And then they announced it, right? So that's a developer. But if they say something like, anti-Xbox, and a developer says that, then no matter what, the developer said it. Do you know better than the developer? Well, maybe he's lying to you, So you just never know. Good point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Centurion, did you get a chance to check out Starfield?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm interested. We got Skyrim in space. Let's really think about that. In Skyrim, if you wanted to go kill the king, go kill the king. If you wanted to be the Dovahkiin, go be the Dovahkiin. If you wanted to go do this, you can do that. it almost just feels like it's almost going to be like pick your own adventure. Like, what do you feel like doing today? Which is exactly what Skyrim was. I really am curious on exactly how expansive this game is going to be. Because it even said like we're starting we're pretty much at the beginning of the final chapter of human evolution, or however they put it. So how does that work? But I'm interested in Starfield. Am I curious on how it's next gen? Yes, because luckily I had Dreadpool kind of show me some things over the past few weeks when it comes to game design and exactly how the hard drive, exactly what these new hard drives are doing to actually make a game next gen, and how scalable games really are. So therefore, I'm just curious on what mechanic really does make Starfield next gen. And as time progresses, are we gonna by some chance discover some way to, make games like this actually appear on older consoles?
It's probably the verticality that's probably going to be in this, because if you think about Skyrim and Fallout and how big those worlds are, but you can't go off the ground usually that I know of. So
I know the biggest transition for games that go into space is that transition from ground going through the atmosphere and you're transitioning into space. So now you're basically going from gravity-based physics to now technically space-based physics and all this. So basically, technically, the whole game is changing. And I know in the past that transition from planet to space has always been a big leap for consoles, and that's why in No Man's Sky, I think, was one of the first ones that actually kind of interested me on how you never really could see that transition to, there wasn't that loading screen between the transition from planet to space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Aesthetically, I like the game. It kind of reminds me of how do I put, like, Aliens?
It reminded me of
Alien.
Yeah, I was gonna say it reminded me of
like the original
Ridley,
Alien.
It was Ridley Scott. Yeah, the original Alien with what's her name, Sigourney Weaver sitting in the cockpit, staring out at the alien landscape.
Yeah. No, that's what kind of caught my eye. So aesthetically, I really like the look of the game. No Sigourney though, unfortunately, Centurion. So I'm gonna be
only face huggers.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Dude, you know what though? Let's really think about it. The movie Alien has taught humankind to never stick your face over something you just don't understand.
Especially something that's like opening up and shit. Looks like a sphincter. You're like, what's in here?
I know. Anytime anybody thinks about sticking their face over something they don't understand, it's just that scene from Alien of that thing coming out and attaching it to your face. Yep. No, I'm not sticking my face over it.
I think that's why people stick their face. Like, I hope it gets me.
At least be like,
why people do it. So
at least be like little, 10-year-old kids and poke it with a stick first. Don't like put your hand.
Oh my god, that's great. At least go get a stick first.
Yeah, poke an alien, an unknown alien species. Yeah, just poke it. Keep poking it, see what happens. Yeah, like
it's an option in Starfield is you could go find a stick and it's all poke object.
Oh, man.
Push Y to just put hang face over opening, alien sphincter egg.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then I took some acid to the knee.
Oh man.
But yeah. Oh, we got a $2 super chat from Lemon. 108 Dragons. Xbox killed it. Halo Infinite looked amazing. Let's go. Yeah, we'll get into Halo soon, buddy.
Halo looked amazing.
Halo. I gotta say, wow. Just looking in the chat here, lots of cool people. Fun speculation. Hey, Mav. Mike from NLG. Logic wins. It was a good show, but I felt that Microsoft held back. No State of Decay 3, Indiana Jones, Hellblade 2, Perfect Dark, Avowed, Fable, IO's Mystery Project, etc. No new acquisitions. Yeah, you know what? We will touch on some of that. Definitely the acquisitions part. But, I mean, we did kind of touch on that last week, guys. I mean, this was going to be Xbox and Bethesda's show. I mean, there was a good chance that we were just going to get a very focused, kind of a welcome to the family show to show off some of Bethesda's new stuff in the works and so on. There is lots of time for new acquisitions. I mean, like, how many new studios did they just acquire within the last 2 years?
Yeah, it'd be like a Monday morning, like the Bethesda announcement,
Yeah, exactly.
They can just do that. presser in the morning.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So, and for all we know, they have an XO planned in the near future. So there's lots of time for these things, even if they do have acquisitions going on. Yeah, there's a lot of games to cover here, guys. Next up, it was mentioned in the chat, guys. Stalker 2. That looked really impressive, like graphically.
Beyond.
I've been waiting for that.
Beyond really impressive.
After they skipped that indie showcase like a few months back, and they just had the screenshots, I was kind of disappointed, but that's sweet to see it's coming out early next year. And that was, if you watch that in the 4K stream, go back and watch it. It's probably one of the best things they showed the entire time. Just graphically, it looked pretty sick. And that's next gen only. And I guess they have like a few months of exclusivity. So
yeah.
If I could butt in real quick, Invader, correct me if I'm wrong. They didn't show a Scorn trailer, right?
No, they did not. But apparently it's still coming out this year from what I've heard.
Yeah. No, on the show, they showed the day it's coming out.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. It was on
okay,
the show.
so when Phil Spencer stood there and was like, we have X amount of games coming out on Game Pass, and that little thing came up on screen, Scorn was in there, and it said fall of 2021.
totally missed it, but I did see it on Twitter, like people pass around the photo.
That completely blew my mind. I thought for a second, I was like, was there a Scorn trailer I don't remember seeing? What the hell?
Well, yeah, and they have a lot
Atomic Heart's made it on there.
Yeah, well, I was actually really psyched to see Atomic Heart now that you mention it.
My wife stuck her head through the door when Atomic Hearts came on and all that that Russian pop music was on. She's like looking at me like, what the hell are you watching? Like, what are you watching?
Well, I was really surprised, and you know me, Centurion, I was keeping an eye on that title, like for the past year or so, because it's a very unique kind of like BioShocky kind of looking.
So unique that literally there is videos on YouTube that question whether that game truly exists.
Well, for a while, everyone was like, yeah, this is not going anywhere, but no, it's definitely a thing. It's supposed to be coming out later this year, from what I'm to understand. And yeah, that's great. I mean, now that you mention it, day one Game Pass for that too, right? Like basically every game that was shown was day one Game Pass. It was the Game Pass show.
Game Pass is freaking, and I just like how subtle it was. We didn't have somebody standing on stage, blah, 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 Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. It was literally Game Pass day one, Game Pass exclusive, Game Pass here, Game Pass there. And it was just words. It wasn't like somebody beating a drum.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you everything that's coming to Game Pass till the end of the year. So you have Like a Dragon, June 13th, Dark Alliance, June 22nd, The Ascent, July 29th, Hades, August 13th, 12 Minutes, August 19th, Anacrusis, Fall 2021, Scorn, Fall 21, Back for Blood, October 12th, Shredders, December, Among Us, Fall, Hello Neighbors, 2021, The Gunk, 2021, Flight Simulator, July 27th, and also their expansion, Maverick, which looks awesome in the fall, August 25th for Psychonauts 2, Age of Empires for PC, October 28th, November 9th for Forza Horizon 5, and Halo Infinite for holiday. Ooh. Now, if we say Xbox has no games, you need to be admitted into a mental hospital.
Oh,
it's
shit.
at that it's at that point. That's how much I actually missed games. Sable, September 23rd, Origami 2, September 7th. I mean, absolutely a ton of games the rest of the year for your Series S and X.
So I like what Phil Spitzer said at the pre-show before the E3 event on how proud he is of the gaming industry as a whole, on how it's done during the pandemic, and how it's actually kind of provided a much a much therapeutic role for a lot of people during the pandemic. And that I have to agree with him on that, because all these developers were put into a situation where all of a sudden they had to work from home under all these new rules and ways of doing things. And they did their best to give us entertainment and what they could. Meanwhile, all we did was just stand around and complain and demand more. And I feel Phil Spencer kind of shows the humanity in gaming. That's why I've always loved Phil Spencer and why I choose to invest in Xbox. And with Phil Spencer and the E3 presentation, I feel that it's just a really good example of why Xbox comes out and does their shows based on, here is why you have invested your money into Xbox, and this is what you're getting for that investment. You go over to some of the competing shows or the guys that try to put on a show later on after the fact, and it just feels more like a reason to come, hey, we need your money, and this is why you should come, spend your money over here. It doesn't feel more like it doesn't feel like hey, this is why you invested. It's more of this is why you should invest more. I feel Xbox really makes me feel secure as a gamer. I don't have the issues and the qualms with investing my money in Xbox as I do other consoles. And I just feel that everything about this show kind of radiated that. Call me weird.
Weird.
I know, right? Well, just like
well said. I mean, perfectly said.
Well, as an example that makes me feel this way is just last night, at the end of the Shop podcast, my wife walks up to me with her phone and shows me a photo of the screen in her bedroom. Regretfully, her PlayStation 4, the cat knocked the plug out of the back of it while it was in rest mode, while the hard drive was hooked up to it, and it basically bricked a hard drive. I have never had that happen with an Xbox, and I just shook my head and was just like, oh my God, of course. So I'm just saying, like, I just feel there is just so many things that makes me, I could go on all day about why I choose to invest my money on Xbox, and it goes beyond the games. It's about the message that Phil Spencer puts out. It's about the quality of the services they put out. It's about how they make me feel like I actually matter and I'm not just some number.
They're definitely more pro-consumer. They've proven that. Mm-hmm. And they, I mean, it's hard to get a refund on a PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? They would assume take a product off the store, like Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Instead of giving you a damn refund. So that speaks to the mentality.
You can't even get a refund from Returnal. And it literally says in their terms of service, if a game is like, they don't give you refunds, if you've already downloaded it and played it, unless the game's broken. By definition, that game was broken for a ton of people, and they just couldn't even play it, couldn't even open the door, and they still were denying people.
By the way, Shockley, I don't want to like correct you, but you said download it and play it. In their terms of service, it's considered a sealed transaction the moment you download it. You're not even allowed to play
that's
it.
What I meant, like download.
No, at least Xbox gives you an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, again, there's a lot of games to talk about here, fellas. What did you guys think of that new IP that was announced? Contraband by Avalanche. I know it was a CGI trailer, but yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Just Cause developers?
Yeah, the Just Cause developers, Avalanche. It seems like an open world co-op game. It was only a CGI trailer again, but
Avalanche also Second Extinction.
Yes, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. There are multiple studios, so
yeah, multiple teams. Yeah,
they have like 3 studios, I believe.
But
yeah,
I like actually
they're one of.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna. I liked how they put in partnership with Avalanche, because I remember everybody was throwing it around that they were gonna, like, on all the studio acquisition theories, that Avalanche was one of them, and I like how they put in partnership with Avalanche right above it.
Yeah, there's a reason to put that there.
Yeah, there is a reason. No release date on that. That one is obviously going to take a while. That's a newer newer title. Obviously, it's going to be a couple of years, but still, I mean, interesting. Obviously, they're really focusing on.
I think it's going to go down that Payday route. Like, that's the game I'm thinking of. Payday,
yeah,
right?
It's funny.
I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it was funny you say that. I actually got a kind of similar vibe from that, like a Payday thing. You go in because it seemed like, you do like heists and stuff.
Well, if we think of what is Avalanche currently doing, their last game, Generation Zero, in my opinion, was kind of like the groundbreaking for Second Extinction. Second Extinction is, in my opinion, a really awesome co-op experience that I enjoy playing with my friends. And I really do feel if they were to try to take that co-op experience and kind of really put some shine on it and some really good polish and make it an almost like a Payday experience, not like Payday. I actually tried Payday and I was not a big fan. But I mean, with what Avalanche puts out, I really think they could hit a home run with that.
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine that it's actually good. And the Xbox is excited. Also heard it's been in development for a while, so maybe we get it faster than expected.
They made Rage 2. Yeah, I think
yes,
that was
they made Rage 2, but like I said, there's three. One's I think their biggest team. There's a team in New York. There's a team in London, I believe.
I'm looking it up on Wikipedia,
and I think there's one in Sweden too.
Yes, they are originally from Sweden, and I do think though, even though they're not purchased or an acquisition now, that is something that I could see Xbox definitely acquiring the studio.
I see that distinction though, like when I checked like Wikipedia, however accurate that one is. Second Extinction Generation Zero was Systemic Reaction, developed by them.
Yes,
so it's different. So it makes the distinction that Avalanche Studios was doing like Rage 2, Just Cause, Mad Max, but not those other ones. It looks like those maybe were smaller teams that did Generation Zero and Second Extinction.
Yeah. Well, again, another co-op title. They're really going heavy on these co-op games, which I mean I like. I mean, I'm a big fan. I mean, Dealer, we played a little bit of Vermintide and whatnot. Like those types of games, they really have some legs if they're done well. Here's hoping that like Contraband can be, something along those lines.
It'd be cool if it's like a single player, which we'll get to another, probably their last one that they announced, where it's, but hopefully this one has like kind of a single player, and then you can join in as like co-op, kind of like you have like with Gears, like it's a single player story, but you can join in as the other characters, so it actually has like a story behind it, not like how people played Ghost Recon. They just kind of felt like, yeah, it's cool with friends, but if you're just playing by yourself, it's kind of not fun.
I don't know. It almost feels like it could come off as like, I hate to use the word procedurally generated, but I feel like as a Contraband thing, as a co-op with creating different, like you're going to have your base maps, but then you could have different scenarios, changing the location of objectives, changing the objectives themselves. Are you doing a heist? Are we doing, there's different missions you could do, but have them change out. So I don't know. I don't want it to be, I feel that sometimes with games, like I'm not trying to be mean about Gears, but the single player campaign, once you're done with it, you're done with it. I definitely, like when you compare it to Second Extinction, there is definitely a heavy amount of replay value because you don't know what you're going to be doing from one day to the next.
You could do it like GTA, where it's like, hey, you have the overall story, but you had those jobs
like
where you could
there was a
choose
campaign and multiplayer.
Yeah, there's
separate,
a big difference between Gears, the quality of that campaign, and Second Extinction's random bullshit tasks that they got going on. So I think Gears adds that infinite replay value with Horde mode and other things like that. But it's up to them to figure that out. I mean, they got the funding if they're working with Microsoft, so hopefully they nail it, right?
Oh, dude, I'll just say Avalanche. Generation Zero grew on me. I played the heck out of Rage 2, and Second Extinction. You don't want to play that game without friends, so I don't get to play it often enough.
Yeah. Now, I mean, that game does leave me very curious. Hopefully, we learn more about it in the coming months. Let's tie this in with another new announcement to an existing IP. We were kind of thinking Obsidian was going to show something. Actually, they showed a couple of somethings. The Outer Worlds 2 got announced, and it had let's just say a very
funniest damn trailer there.
Well, a very memorable, quirky trailer, yeah, where they were just like basically shit talking other trailers, which was great. And they're like, oh, all we have to show for it at the end is just the name. The Outer Worlds 2, yeah, that was announced. So, I mean, we kind of knew that was coming.
We'll show our hero at the end, but not the hero. We'll only show his silhouette after an overuse of lens flare.
We'll show his silhouette because his character model or his character concept isn't done. You know, that's what he said. Yeah, those guys at Obsidian, I think they do the best kind of like comedic trailers and self-aware trailers. That you want one of those, you go to them, right? I mean, those guys and id do some of the best trailer work there is, really. They made the grounded trailer even, right? I mean, I thought it was just well done, really well done.
Yeah, the grounded one was
trailer.
pretty good. Yeah, go ahead, Centurion.
No, I was just say the whole trailer. I was trying to figure out what game it was, and as it kept talking more crap, eventually about halfway through the trailer, I'm like, this has to be the Outer Worlds. This is the only space game I know that would have this much comedic value to it.
Yeah, and I mean, they did throw some little tidbits in here, like, you know, you saw, like, they were kind of, like, showing off, like, a little bit of, like, I guess, concept for, like, some worlds that they're kind of concepting from the looks of it, and, I don't know, they had some, like, pretty cool ideas there. I know that they were, like, doing some mocking and whatnot, obviously, and it turned out pretty good. It was memorable for the right reasons, but yeah, you know, it's nice to know that game is in development. Obviously it's Microsoft Xbox exclusive, and you know, that's another thing that's off the table that you're gonna have to go to the Xbox ecosystem for, which
that was what I was curious on, if it was going to stay exclusive. And at the end of that trailer, all that fine print on the bottom, you didn't see one mention of any other products other than Xbox products, and you're like, ooh, well, it looks like they're staying the course on that one.
He said it back in that GameSpot interview. He said he thinks that's be one of those games that they'd keep exclusive. So,
oh no, totally. Well, yeah,
and it's next gen exclusive, but obviously it's in early development, so that'd be obvious.
They're lying. They're lying to y'all, and instead of paying attention, a lot of these guys just went and set themselves up for one hell of a choke slam. It didn't have to be this way, did it, TimDog?
It's had to be that way.
He said it had to be that way.
Well, there was a lot of
no way, they'll be back next week saying the same shit.
Well, no, but there are actually people that believe that, you know, Xbox spending $7.5 billion on you know, Bethesda and all its IP, all its studios, that they weren't going to get anything actually out of it. You know, you're investing in these studios and these IP. To think that the next iterations of these games were going to come out on other platforms, at least for the majority of them, you would have had your head in the clouds. The idea that Xbox was going to put Starfield or any of them on PlayStation or whatever. I mean, be real. It's not like PlayStation would do the same thing. You know, it's like, you know, they come
Bro, I'm telling you, like, I mean, Invader, you've been around, right? You posted a show. You've been on Twitter. I mean, everybody always does this. Every time something comes out and we don't know the answers, half of these people are doubting the obvious truth, right? But when it's confirmed, oh, of course they were going to do that. We see this with everything, right? I mean, you had to have seen just legions of people that were, for some reason, debating if this was actually going to go to PlayStation or not, or any of that stuff. When it's common sense as to why they acquired ZeniMax, right? This is pretty straight, cut and dry. Unless we have a deal, unless we've been basically making the game already exclusive to PlayStation for a year, like Deathloop, then it's not going there.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Obviously, they didn't showcase Deathloop or Ghostwire Tokyo, but those are games that PlayStation's gonna have exclusive. It's not like they're getting anything. I mean, they have a timed exclusive, but you still have something for now. It's not like you have no games coming to your platform soon, the PlayStation platform, but eventually the well is gonna run dry, and you're gonna come to the real self-realization that you know what? You've just been kind of, putting something in your head that isn't there. Again, it's business, and Microsoft didn't spend that money just to give away exclusives and just to put it out on a competing platform.
With PlayStation building all them walls to form that sacred garden, not at one time anybody stopped to think for a second that maybe they were walling themselves in. If you get the reference, I'm just saying they completely cut off their ecosystem. I said this a long time ago that you can only sit on top for so long writing on the same thing over and over and over again without no evolution of the product.
Right.
Well, there's an evolution, and Centurion's a smart guy. This is something that is true, but they're definitely changing. They're evolving. They're doing exactly what Microsoft is doing in the long term. Long story short, it's just they're several years behind, right? Just like the PC.
It seems more reactionary.
Just like it is reactionary. Basically, Microsoft are Netflix right now in 2010 with Game Pass. They're that far ahead. And while they got this gap, they got to keep going. That's what they're doing. They see the future clear as day now. So Sony are doing the same thing. It's just they're a couple years behind, 3 years behind, 4 years behind, but it's going to happen. And that's why you'll see day and date on PS Now, just like Game Pass eventually, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, at least Microsoft, like, they were very, very upfront about their intentions with the platform. Like, even as far as their PC stuff, going back to, 2015, 2016. And then they got shit on for it royally. And, they were just trying to, let people know slowly that, they were opening up the ecosystem, and then people were getting used to the idea that it's not so bad. Obviously, we could see what they were doing, and Sony were, again, the Centurion. You were talking about the closed platform. They were just being sticking with PlayStation and so on. Now in the last few weeks, few months, you've seen them open up to PC more of their PlayStation games are going to the PC and whatnot, and it's it's gonna be a tough pill for them to swallow.
I told you, I think it was a week or two ago. That's how I got talking to Dredd. Was I think the reason why the conversation that the new God of War game is going to appear on the PS4 is because I honestly stand by that. I think that PlayStation had the games designed in a way that kept PC in mind. And we know that PC pretty much I'm not trying to be mean, but we know that the vast majority of PCs out there are not even as powerful as a PS5 or a Series S. So therefore, they kept that game design down a little bit to make sure that they could get that game on as many PCs as possible. And that's why I think all of a sudden now, because of the lack of PS5s in the wild, all of a sudden PlayStation's like, well, we can put God of War on the PS4 because we left that door open for game design.
Well, think about it, though. What do you got to do to max out an SSD of that caliber? A lot. You got to do a whole lot. And it doesn't make sense to teleport from world to world with all this fucking detail everywhere you look instantly, right? So it's almost like you'd have to force it. And that could really, really make games not that great. There's only one game I've seen that actually needs an SSD to do in terms of gameplay and what you're seeing on screen every single second of the game. That's Ratchet and Clank, right? Now that game will not look as good as God of War 2018. It doesn't even look as good as Horizon Forbidden West to me.
Now
it's great in its own art style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
think they force it though to Centurion. My point is that God of War just didn't need an SSD because it's God of War, right?
No,
Horizon didn't
need
an SSD because it's Horizon. I think that your point with the PC though is also correct in a way, but it also begs the question: why spend all that extra money for one of the most expensive components in the PS5, that SSD, when you only have games very seldom actually require it?
You know what,
it's
they did
like
that.
It's a marketing ploy.
Yeah, it was pretty much my opinion, or this is we've talked about this many times on RDX. The worst kept secret is that they went with a 2019 design, and it is RDNA 2 based, but it's not full RDNA as we covered. It's basically
RDNA 2.0, not RDNA 2.0 plus, right?
Well, it's full Xbox is full RDNA. It can do things like mesh shaders and VRS 2.1. It requires hardware that Xbox specifically waited. But the point is that they kind of, I think, they built out earlier than Xbox, and they just looked at ways to how to spruce up their system the best that they could.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what they did there. I think that they had to get some type of selling point, and it was obviously thought about and talked about because they went with this whole lie of a marketing plan that they believe in generations. I think that that was their whole plan, and it backfired on them. I mean the SSD on both Xbox and PlayStation 5 are extremely fast, but like some of the stuff that was thrown out by Sony or put out there, it has to be questioned or looked twice at. I'd rather have went with the later hardware with the full RDNA spec that Xbox did. It took them longer to. They had to wait on it, and that's why they were behind, and that's why the first set of games they were kind of losing. Face-offs, and people like what was going on. Quite simply, they were just later out of the gate because they waited for the better hardware, and that I think is going to show itself down the line. When these games get more CPU intensive and stuff like that. But yeah, honestly, you just have to question with Godfall and the marketing deploys of We Believe in Generations that a lot of that shit was full of shit. I mean, Dealer had said, and people I've talked to at Xbox too, a lot of these games are scalable. Most games are scalable. PC has existed for how long? It's the same exact thing. You know what I mean? So there are a select few games that maybe can, utilizing the SSD that can't be done, but for the most part, it's scalable, especially when you have a spec of 4K 60, 4K 30 with full ray tracing, so
Yeah.
think about that.
And to that, then you'd have to explain the machine language and how everything's on x86 to x86 for the first time ever, right? Really in console gaming, and how that's the same machine language PC uses. And it's so much stuff that people don't get about it, that they can see a post by AMD and say, hey, PlayStation 5 is used, RDNA 2 to power Ratchet and Clank, and people think they're getting us on something. It's like, this is literally what we said. It's custom RDNA 2 or RDNA. We've known that it's had RDNA 2 features because it has ray tracing. It doesn't have other RDNA 2 features, meaning, that's why people call it RDNA 1.5, but it has the performance per cycle of RDNA 2.
If I can ask one question real quick, Dealer, I haven't picked up the new Ratchet game yet, but is there as much AI on screen actively moving around as it showed in the previews?
I haven't even played it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did it come out? It came out like last night or the night before?
Something like that, yeah.
So I was going to play it, but then I stumbled upon Chivalry too. And then, all right, goodbye for the rest of my night. So that
Dude,
game
everybody's
is crazy.
talking about Chivalry on Twitter.
It's good, man. It's good. It's fun.
Oh, yeah. I got to pick that up. That looks like fun.
You got to get that, Invader. We can squad up.
Yeah, buddy. I'm all over that. Guys, you know what? We got to move on to some Halo talk because Halo had a pretty decent show in there, obviously. And, the big talk was, did it have any improvements from over a year? I mean, we kind of knew because we, 343's been sharing stuff with us, but man, did that game look sharp. Woo, it looked beautiful.
But I thought I was held back, Invader. What's wrong?
Oh man, well hey buddy, I mean you would have known it from that the short little clippets of the in-game campaign stuff right at the beginning. Oh man, the background, everything, it's like night and day from a year ago. It looked amazing. Oh man, props to 343 on that. And then you looked at the detail on Master Chief's armor, when they had that little in-game cut screen and more. Everything looked so well done. And then they went to the multiplayer. The multiplayer looks really nicely fast paced. It has a lot of it's a blend of the old and the new. Oh man, I'm really enjoying the like more the like back in the day, like the Halo 3, the Halo Reach kind of armor styling, and more like it just the color palette looks fantastic. Say what you will, but like the haters were probably pretty pissed off of what they showed because it looked really really good. I think it shut a lot of people up.
Yeah, did.
It did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've been preaching that too. Like, everyone's talking about how cross-gen is the reason.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, you got games on the current generation at the time, like Red Dead 2 and Doom Eternal, that just think about this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Cross-gen can't be the reason there's no mountains, silly. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all about the time they've had to put into the game, which is apparently shorter and less than we thought. The engine development took a long time,
Mhm.
but still, like, they needed more time, and they put 1,000 developers on this at one time from a bunch of different first-party studios.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like, the game looks phenomenal. Like, you can't argue this. I watched it again, even at 1080p while we were streaming earlier, and I was blown away. Tim, when he was leaving the cockpit in space and all the physics
That
was
looks
going on
great.
there. Insane.
People
Mhm.
forget they built this on a whole new engine, kind of like how Unreal's moving everything to Unreal 5. It's going to give them more capabilities to
Yeah.
scale the game. So it's not like, hey, they're building on an old engine from last gen. So that's what people
Good
forget.
point.
That
I mean, people were taking pictures from their PC, just like an F10 screenshot, and it looked amazing. Like it was like a bull shot. Like I could not believe that people were just like pausing the game, taking pictures of the multiplayer sequence, and even the single player when he's in space. But
Mhm.
some of the things that they show. I mean, I posted some of the pictures. It was like they took it off their PC and it looked absolutely incredible. I mean, yeah, Halo really surprised me. I was before the show and, previously on, here I talked about it in RDX. I felt that whatever Halo was going to do, that they were going to get criticized. I mean, and there was a lot of sentiment out there too. One person said to me one day that has pretty good, sources and stuff, that Halo looks absolutely horrible, or it's going to massively disappoint. Wow, were they wrong? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you could say they played it safe. They maybe played it a little safe with the single player, but the freaking
They showed
the
the open world, though,
multiplayer. Yeah, they showed the open world. They showed the Halo. They said it's 120 frames per second.
Ooh.
I mean, really, Halo
Mhm.
came back in a big way. Dealers right on. They were up to like 1,200 people on the studio when they were really trying to crunch it down. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but whatever. When they were trying to get it, at the holiday, yeah, there was talk about, and I think that's why when they talked about it, when Staten said, Joe Staten said that they were both going to release at the same time. There was talk that they were going to release the single player and then tier it with the multiplayer, which would have been a big disaster. I think it wouldn't have had ray tracing. It would have been subpar visuals. They did the right thing with this delay, and today was honestly, uh, they got themselves. They were on the ground and they were crawling. They got themselves on their feet right now, and I think they're going to have more showings. And this is the start of their reveal. And I just tweeted on it. I do think that there might be another show at the end of the year, maybe an XO, maybe a showcase, and I think they're going to probably target late November, December for the game to give it the most time that they can get. But yeah, if they show the game and it's in its glory in a September show or whenever they're gonna have a show, because they have like these games Avowed, Hellblade 2, that were slated for this show but didn't make it. And I got kind of confirmation that there was some stuff that uh, happened. Some things didn't make the show, but and they were upset about it. But they kind of got themselves now in a really good position, because now they have those games, and they're going to be ready to show. So Avowed and Hellblade 2 and Halo a full campaign reveal ready to go. So we're talking not a no E3 like Sony. We're talking let's get another show right after E3.
Yeah, my only criticism would have been they still don't have a release date kind of nailed down. Like they said, like holiday 2021. Like I mean, I would have thought by now they would have had maybe like I was thinking fallish, but do you think that it'll be like on Halo, the original Halo's anniversary, like sometime in November?
Probably, yeah. I think that November is a good spot. I think that they're definitely. I'm thinking later than the reason why they said holiday is they're thinking later than earlier, but they don't want to. They don't want to lock themselves in somewhere. They want to see where other games drop. I'm sure they don't want to drop next to Horizon for that's you know what I mean. I'm sure they want to be smart about that.
They don't want to give a date for the second time and then push it back and a third. So because they had a date last year and then they obviously delayed it. So giving a date now, you might as well wait until you nail it down. In Horizon, like we're still waiting. They said that's on track, but we don't have a definitive date. So I think both games will release this year, and I don't think there's anything to worry about since they had a whole extra year to polish.
Yeah,
that's what I said on the show was I mean there's been Horizon Forbidden West. I don't think they have an exact date for that right yet, do they?
Nope.
No, not yet.
Yeah, and they don't have a date for that, but nobody's really super concerned about it not making 2021. I think that Halo, Microsoft are probably a little smart because they do have first-person shooter competition. Somebody in the chat pointed out that this is the first time. When's the last time you had a Halo, a COD, and a Battlefield in the same year? Has it ever happened? I don't know if it ever has. And this
maybe
the first
Battlefield
one.
3. When did Halo 4 come out?
No, Battlefield 3 came out in 2011, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it was 2010, maybe even.
Well, there's a couple. There even like I know it doesn't have a multiplayer mode per se, but even like other first-person shooters, like you got Far Cry 6 releasing in October as well. It's gonna be stacked for first-person games.
Yeah, and that looked really good.
They might have wanted to have some maneuverability there, move it around if they had to.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty jammed up. All these games that were delayed are now getting release dates, so good, but also kind of scary too. We got Fuzzy Belvedere in the chat here with the $5 super chat. Can we have a moment of silence for Craig, guys?
Yeah, Craig Zalker on the show was pointing. He said he thought that they might put Craig in the background and in space floating around as one of the corpses, but no Craig in the corpses. Maybe he's still there, and maybe this time he's got some textures on his forehead, but. I don't know, man. I'm still blown away by how the game looked, and it was all in real time. Just like if you played Doom Eternal, or you played God of War, or you played any of these games, like you can't complain about this, right? This is what the game looks like. It's just outside Halo. It's outside the perspective of Master Chief because there's no camera cuts in the game really. So that's the thing it has in common with God of War, and it's using the same exact rendering feature there. So I don't see why people would complain about this being some kind of CG thing.
Yeah, and you see that world. They showed off the world before they got to that part of the trailer where it was in motion. It was like in game while things are moving around. They just had the camera from a God view. But that world looks freaking huge. Dude, that whole ring.
Yeah, like that background. Holy moly, there's a lot.
And you can go there. You can go like all over that ring. That was their original thought of like eventually with over that 10-year span, they're going to build out the ring. You could go all over the damn thing.
I still don't believe that game has a 10-year life cycle. They said the same thing with Destiny 1.
Yeah.
I think that maybe they'll support it for 10 years, like in terms of servers. I don't know. They support games way longer than that, honestly, but I don't know. That's kind of intriguing. It'd be interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah. I mean, there's
that multiplayer. That looks good.
That looks good.
Yeah, and there's still a lot to learn. Like, there's more details that are going to be dropping tomorrow, I believe, with regards to the multiplayer. They're going to go more in depth, and I think they also said too that with the all the monthly updates that they have, like later on this month, they're going to have blowouts of some other stuff. And again, that's not even including Forge guys, as well as, I would like to see Firefight return personally in some form. I'm a huge Firefight fan, so whether they do another like Warzone kind of thing, who knows? But there's a lot to look forward to either way, and I think a lot of people are just kind of relieved with what they saw with Halo Infinite today. So I know I am in a lot of ways. So yeah, no, good stuff there. No more worries about Craig. But Dealer, I think you had brought up Forza Horizon 5. That got announced too. I mean, we all knew that was coming. That actually has a November 9th release date. I was kind of surprised that it got pushed to November, which is interesting. But that looks fantastic. Like, whatever they... Oh, man. Built from the ground up for the Series X. Ooh, man. The detail in that game, it is astounding.
You see that little shrub? That little shrub, it was actually not static, and it was just like blowing in the wind. Just a tiny, tiny shrub that they showed off. If you go back and watch that 4K stream, it was like, damn, the level of detail. Like, usually in the racing game, some of that would just be a plant that didn't move. But I was like, damn.
It looks which is an interesting claim.
No, it looked good. It looked good. Like, when they're around that volcano, that looked fantastic. I'll admit, guys, I was like... I mean, I love the Forza Horizon series. Like, I was kind of getting burnt out a bit, but
yeah, it seems like they've gone the extra mile to leverage, a lot of processing.
Yeah. I feel reinvigorated after watching that. It looked so good. Like, Playground games is such there's such a good pickup for them. The stuff that they do with the Forza Tech engine and just. The amount of polish they give their game and just a 2-3 year development cycle. It's amazing. They're a top tier developer. I
think of what they did with 1 extra year and what the Forza Turn 10 devs are going to do with their new engine. And they've had the last game came out 2017, and the next game probably won't come out for 2022 at least. So they're going to have a whole 5 years. See what level of detail they can get to, and you just saw Forza Horizon 5, a cross-gen game. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Hey, not to mention Fable, right? So
yeah, Fable with that tech. I'm like, oh snap! That's hopefully we see that gameplay pretty soon, or maybe they do that a later show this year. But that would look sick.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But no, I mean, it's just really nice to be getting some release dates here. I know I'm gonna be on top of Forza Horizon 5 for sure. How about you guys in the chat? Did you like what you saw with Forza Horizon 5? How about Halo Infinite? I know I'm seeing some love for Halo Infinite there. Man, look good. Right, let's move on here. We got some more release dates. Any Psychonauts 2 fans here? Yeah, anybody looking forward to that?
I like Forza Horizon 5. No, I mean, honestly, I didn't get to talk. I was having some kind of, I don't know. You sound like you were lagging a lot, so I was like, this has to be me. So Horizon 5, man, that was built from the ground up, right? Like, that's an interesting claim because I think it's still an Xbox One, but I think they just meant like, hey, we're gonna really try to get some really serious new visual effects from this game on this box, which is cool. It did look beautiful, and before I was hoping for some kind of new thing they're gonna add, right? Because they've been trying to add a new thing, quote unquote, for the games lately. So the seasons last time, it looked like those are gone. Because Mexico only has one, which is hot, right? So we got the season of hot, and now they've got like some storms, like some it looked like sandstorms, kind of, or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah, that looks great. And Psychonauts, I mean, it's got a charm. I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but I'll definitely give it a shot because of Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of platformers. That's why I bring it up. And I played the first one once I got into Game Pass, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Yeah, it still holds up to this day. They really Double Fine. They're a really unique studio, to say the least. That game is coming out August 25th, and of course available in Game Pass. What else did we have here on the Xbox side? Now, of course, we had games that are already out technically, whether it be in game preview or just been around for a couple of years. Grounded got an update, or there's an update coming out. And then, guys, did you see Sea of Thieves? The Pirates of the Caribbean story-based a pirate's life.
I don't care. No one says, but that puts Sea of Thieves back on my radar, and I am looking forward to playing that with a couple of friends and my wife.
Smart move.
What?
Oh, the collaboration with Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, what? Me playing the game with my wife?
Well, that too.
Well,
I'm not a Sea of Thieves fan, and I think it looks pretty interesting. Definitely, they added a bigger chunk of content than you would ever think 3 years later, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
3 years later, and they completely freaking chunk of content, man. They freaking walked out there and lit a freaking bonfire just so everybody could see what's going on at Sea of Thieves. I mean, when you're watching them introduce Jack Sparrow, and all of a sudden when you start realizing before he even steps in the frame, I'm like, is that Jack Sparrow? And as soon as you see Johnny Depp's character step in, you're just like, oh my God, Sea of Thieves has just rocketed themselves into, in my opinion, a different kind of game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for them to partner with Disney and Pirates of the Caribbean. It fits extremely well. I mean, everything just kind of worked. When I looked at that trail, I'm like, yes, that works with the Black Pearl and everything.
Well, at first, when you're watching the trailer and you're watching the guy in the dungeon hang his arm out, and when you realize he's trying to get the dog to bring him the keys, I was like, is that Jack Sparrow? Because at first I was like, dude, they are so ripping off Disney right now. Until I realized that it really is. And then we saw Davy Jones. I forget his first mate's name, but there was there's more than Jack Sparrow. It looks like they're almost bringing a small portion of the world of Pirates of the Caribbean directly into what Jack Sparrow referred to as the Sea of Thieves.
Right. Well, again, it just shows you the commitment to the existing games, right, that Microsoft's putting into it. And Rare's been very committed to Sea of Thieves. Granted, I mean, I really want to see them move on to, some other stuff. I want to see how Everwild's kind of doing. Again, that was another game that's been kind of silent since it first got revealed. But Sea of Thieves, though, I mean, yeah, they're still adding all kinds of content to it. This, I'll be curious to see how this does. I think it's coming out pretty soon, too, if I'm not mistaken.
June 22nd, if I'm right. And do any of you guys want to play? Darn well taking on Davy Jones is not going to be a single-player experience.
Well, that is if he's easy to even get to and take on. Yeah, I mean, it's how they get to the Megalodon before was a lot different than the Megalodon now, right? So I think it's cool that they've added. When I saw Davy Jones pop up out of the water, I was like, wow, that's actually really cool. I'm not a fan of this game, right? I got, people were pissed when I reviewed the game when it came out, and I just said how it was. Look, this is a game that's not complete. It didn't even have fish hardly at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They've added a lot of stuff and updates, and now it's kind of a game, right? At least when I refer to a complete product. I mean, when I think Sea of Thieves, man, the potential for something like this is massive, right? I mean, you could think of a sequel eventually with a big pirate hub city in the middle, ceasefire zone. People are docking their ships, they're trading with currencies, and they're upgrading, and they're buying stuff, and they're forming factions. There's so much potential with something like this that I think they should just do a flat out sequel after this. Hopefully they will, and add these things and kind of revamp things. But I think that this is kind of nicely surprising because they're adding either they're really good at cutscenes, right? Or they looks like they've added entirely new sword fighting mechanics or something in there. They've added different types of creatures. You're not just fighting skeletons anymore. You know, like that was a problem. So I think this is really, really nice. I think the Davy Jones thing is cool. Him pop out of the water randomly. And the fact that this is all going to look amazing at 60 FPS 4K with what I think is the best HDR in the business right now, Sea of Thieves on Series X, right? So, I mean, why not, right? Is it in Game Pass? Is it free in Game Pass or no?
Oh yeah, it's a free update.
Free update
for anybody who owns the game or plays in Game Pass.
Can't beat it.
Well,
right? So
let's also look at another door down the yellow brick road, if I may show you real quick. Let's think about the fact that this is a big partnership with Disney. I mean, they are putting a heavy amount of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise into Sea of Thieves. Who's the company who owns Marvel again? Oh yeah, Disney. I'm just saying, there's some potential there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a smart partnership for them. I'd argue it should have happened a long time ago because, I mean, either way, I'm looking forward to trying it out. Centurion, I'll try it out to you, and we'll get other guys from the show on there. Like it looks like fun. So, and we've been talking about Sea of Thieves for a while, so we got to get back on there. But there's just so much to play, right?
Name one other place where you can go and throw up on your friend and they'll laugh about it.
The bar.
Oh no, dude, no, I don't care where we're at. If somebody physically throws up.
Yeah, no. Another game, actually, well, okay, it was out on PC, but it has an official release date for Xbox now. Flight Simulator will be making its way to Xbox July 27th, which not too far along, just next month. And I mean, I'm looking forward to Flight Simulator. I'm actually, from the gameplay they're showing, it looked pretty impressive. It was already an impressive looking game right off the bat on PC, but I mean, it looks phenomenal on Xbox. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but there is also an update for that too, a free DLC later on in the fall, the Top Gun Maverick free expansion to tie in with the movie.
So have jets not been part of Flight Simulator? Like, is it just all prop planes, or is jets actually new to the game?
I think you can technically fly like those you can fly like Boeing 747s or something like that, but I don't think you've been able to fly like an F-16 or anything.
Okay.
I don't know though. That's a good question.
See, I kind of wondered that, and then all of a sudden you start hearing the Top Gun music in the background, and I went to the kitchen and I look over at the TV and I'm like, is that Maverick? Oh no, that's when I realized it was Flight Simulator, because I thought the advertisement had already ended, and now I'm just kind of even more curious about that game because I don't know why, I'm a sucker for Top Gun, and it just seems like it'd be a blast to just kind of fly through that game as fast as you could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's a title I've been waiting for a while to try out on Xbox. So finally, I can't wait to get my hands on that sucker. Again, available in Game Pass. So I will definitely give that a go. Ballin' Harder in the chat with the $5 super chat. Thanks a lot. But the real-time reflections on that Jeep's back window was very impressive in the opener of Forza Horizon 5. Dude, I know. Everything in that trailer looked phenomenal. Like,
dude, because of Dealer Gaming during the Halo trailer, the first thing I look for in his visor, anytime I see Halo anymore or Master Chief, I'm always looking to see if there's a reflection in his visor. Ever since Dealer pointed out that in the original Infinite trailer there was a reflection, and then the reflection disappeared in a different trailer, so now I'm looking for reflections.
Yeah, I mean, it's Horizon again, looks good.
Yeah, totally, brother. Let's see. We had actually, I kind of predicted this too. Age of Empires 4, the PC game, also coming to Game Pass Ultimate Piece for the PC, coming out October 28th. I don't know if there's any RTS fans in the house, but I'm an RTS fan, and I'll probably be checking that out. I like my army stuff, so I will give that a go as well. I like to dabble in a lot of different genres, really. Yeah. Oh, you know what, guys? We should probably talk about this. What they ended off the show with. The new IP Redfall announced by Arcane. I believe it's Arcane Austin. Remember that rumored Omen game, the vampire game? Well, yeah, it turned out to be Redfall. It's a vampire open world co-op shooter, and it releases actually not too far away, but it's still a year off, summer 2022. What do you guys think of that?
Well, it's
I'm
a
intrigued.
multiplayer co-op kind of vampire shooter thingy, right? So, I mean, certainly what do we know? And right now we know it's like open world city, you kill vampires with your friends, and kind of surprising, actually. Yeah, Arcane aren't known for this type of thing, so that could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I saw some people actually kind of like upset over the announcement because, like you said, Dealer, they're not really known for like their co-op stuff. It's more like single player, obviously, with like Dishonored, Prey. So it's a little out of their normal territory. I'm kind of intrigued. I'll admit, like, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I wasn't necessarily blown away by it per se, but I am intrigued. I mean, I need to see the actual gameplay, right? So
Yeah. That was just a CG trailer. I guess they're trying to get the point across. But, I mean, I guess it will. So can you can get bitten and turn, right? And go against your friends, or I don't know how much details out there about this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking in the vein of like, not that this is a great game by comparison, but like brute force, or like you have like a story game of these four characters, because I think they're trying to make that distinction of like they actually are, personable characters. They're not just like, hey, we have barely any dialogue. There's actual probably a story and connection with them, and you're in this four group, so you could play it by yourself, from what I'm getting. But yeah, you also have the co-op option
Which
there as well.
Sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I looked all those cool different powers. They kept coming out of nowhere with different ones, and that was pretty sick. So yeah, definitely excited to try this one out, especially from the devs from the ones that make Dishonored. So
yeah. No, it looked like a nice, like an interesting title. Again, new IP, and
Cool.
What was that, Tim?
I thought it looked very cool. A lot of people are, they I saw a lot of downvotes and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't know what it is. I thought it looked very cool. Obviously, it's not it's CGI, it's not gameplay, but I mean, if you could say, if you want to be critical, you could say maybe they lacked a little bit of gameplay. But one of the things that I think is funny is I wonder if I think we did talk about this earlier, but if they're gonna have uh, a show to show Avowed and Hellblade 2 and Halo re-reveal, when do you guys think that, not to change the subject, but I'm just very interested reading on Twitter and right now some of the stuff I'm reading. When do you think that they'll have another show at the end of the year, or do you think that this is it, or they'll have just smaller shows? This was the big Super Bowl.
Well, you got to think about it like this too, because the Game Awards would be too late for, like, let's say something like Halo. So, I would think anyways. So if they were to do a show, I would imagine it would be maybe late September, possibly.
If I could touch on that. Let's really think about it. They didn't give us an actual hard date on when Halo is exactly coming out. All it just says is holiday. So that is a show in itself, at least a reason to have something. We're going to have a show. We're going to show some new games, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to reveal the day that you can pick up Halo Infinite.
Right. And don't forget, there's also Gamescom as well. So that's late August. So, I mean, there's a few opportunities to do it. I mean, I would personally like them to do like some kind of an EXO show, possibly in September, where they just, they would maybe talk a little bit about Hellblade, Avowed, something like that. You see, the thing is now, in a way, we're kind of not used to this, right? Because now we have all these different games to talk about, all these different new IP and so on, and they still have stuff to talk about, and they still have stuff to reveal. So again, they don't need to rely on E3 or whatever. They can just drop a little bit here, a little bit there. So yeah, I would like to see them do a show personally. I think that they would. I think Phil and Aaron and all of them are listening. There's a lot of things in motion right now, and like you said, Tim, too. I mean, it sounded like they had dropped some stuff, like I wouldn't say last minute, but like pretty close to like showing some stuff that they probably wanted to. So I mean, we'll probably be hearing about that stuff in a couple of months, I would imagine. But
yeah, there's still some other
Yeah.
projects they're probably going to announce in the
They have
future
a
before-
ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Wolfenstein 3,
Compulsion,
Project Typhoon.
Project Typhoon, Compulsion. You have Compulsion game. They have to be ready to show. It's just so exciting, man. I like. Just today's been a real. I mean, these people are dying for narratives. Now I'm seeing people saying, the 4K 30 option for for Horizon. And that's people are going crazy with that. That's the same exact thing that I even took an L. That I said an L because for Forbidden Horizon was shown 4K 30, and then they have a 60 option, which Forza Horizon will have a 60 option too. But it just goes to show you that the people are looking for narratives to put down, but. Otherwise, man, Xbox just had this whole thing with Satya, this double downing. I'm just so happy right now. Like they had a kick-ass E3, even have dealer happy, and that's huge. And people all on this podcast happy. Xbox fans in general, I remember the showcase for Keighley was like his poll was like mostly C's and D's last year. Majority was A's this year. So I really think that Xbox had a killer show, but they have so much stuff. Like I didn't know that Bethesda had 2 Arcane studios. You know what I mean? Like I thought there were 8 studios. Now it's like they're equivalent to 10 or whatever. But yeah, they have a lot to show, and they just had an E3. So let that sink in.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also talking about acquisitions.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we'll touch on it in a little bit about acquisitions and stuff, guys. I know a lot of people were looking forward to some there. But we got Binyabik in the chat with the £5 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. What's your top 3s today? Eowyn Chronicle replaced A Plague's Tale Requiem. Looked so good and unexpected. Great show. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that comment. Thanks for the super chat. Ooh, man, that's a tough one. Because there's a few standouts for me. Starfield really caught my eye. Atomic Heart gameplay, Game Pass day 1. Like that was a title that I was already looking forward to see that drop into Game Pass is fantastic. And to be honest, yeah, just seeing Halo Infinite back, like the new like campaign and multiplayer stuff, just to get some kind of an update is fantastic. So those would be my highlights personally. What about you, Centurion? What would you say your highlights were?
My highlights for the show, man. Am I allowed to claim the whole show? No. Dude, what games really kind of stood out for me? Wow, I really haven't to put it in the top 3. I really don't know. You'd probably laugh. Actually, the last game we actually talked about, the vampire game. What was it called again?
Redfall.
That one. I don't know why, but I'm always a sucker for a good game. I can sit down and play with some friends and just chit chat. If we're talking a single player experience, that definitely is leaping out at me. I'm going to be absolutely not to sound stupid, but Halo, man. When I saw him conversating with Cortana, and all of a sudden you find out that the other Cortana was deleted and all this other stuff, and for a second there, you're just like, wow, I'm kind of intrigued. What in the heck is going on? And I'm looking forward to the single player campaign for Halo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's I mean that whole stuff with like Cortana like getting deleted and whatnot, like ooh, very, very
it opens up a lot of questions, and then all of a sudden, and Dude, it opened up a lot of questions for me on like Cortana. Last time you saw her, it was just like, whoa, how did somebody get to like delete her? It just didn't seem like an easy task.
It was
Well,
probably a good
remember
choice to retcon Cortana Karen. So
yeah, wasn't she getting like if you the story in the story? And I don't want to spoil it. I mean, we could probably spoil it now. It's Halo 5, but she was getting weird at the end.
Yeah.
Remember in Halo 5, like she was getting definitely. I don't know if she was bad or if she was like, but I remember that portion that she was like being strange. But for me, the top three were. I would say number one would be Forza Horizon. Rivals any people say we want to see the best looking games, show what the hardware can do. Listen, you looked at that game, and you know that's really amazing graphics. That rivals, I don't care, rivals anything on Sony's platform. Even though it's a racing game,
Easily. I mean, you think that's real, right?
You know, it was so for me that was huge. Then I would say the second thing would be, even though Washington Post screwed it over, Starfield was really nice. Just because I mean the trailer was pretty good and it looks fun and stuff. I kind of believe in the pedigree of the developer and know it's going to be good, but I just think overall them nailing down the exclusivity talk really firmly was really nice to see. And then Halo, the ability to come back and wipe itself off after being knocked down last time, and just the overall positive response. I'm not really seeing any negativity about Halo at all. If anything, people are really hyped about it. So they got themselves back on the firm footing, and hopefully they make it this year. I think that they'll make it this year. But for me, those were the three easily, and really good show, really good day. I'm shot right now. It's I'm going on like 4 hours sleep, and just a lot of excitement, a lot of adrenaline dumps and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that was mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's out of curiosity, Dealer. What would you say your top three were?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay. It had to be first party stuff, really. I mean, because you're getting that stuff to play this year, right? So definitely Halo looked insane. I want to play that, and the multiplayer campaign combo, obviously, that's what we always expect Microsoft. So I'm not going to act like that. It's praise you for releasing a finished product together, but I will say that it is good that it's releasing together, because there were rumors that it wasn't. So that's great. You needed to do that. Horizon obviously looks fantastic, and you could, Tim's right, you can put that up against anything really, which is where I got lost in what Tim was saying, because I was thinking about that, how people do say that stuff, but then a racing game, it's not okay, or you can't use that, but Gran Turismo is fine to do it with. So I would say, yeah, I mean those two especially, and Stalker 2.
Yeah.
Stalker 2 looked beyond ridiculous, and probably was the best looking real-time gameplay segment we've seen in the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
I would say that.
I'd have to say I'm really excited for those three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked Stalker. Oh man, some of the stuff with the visual effects, man, they looked really impressive. Definitely showcases the new consoles. Like one of the best looking games you'll see to date so far. What about some of the?
Yeah, I would say the
yeah, go ahead.
Stalker is probably just to finish up there. Stalker is probably my top one. Also, what was it called? God, just escaped my mind. What was the Replaced? Did that just end up being the Last Night devs that we never got the game for? I don't know if you all remember that game. It had looked very similar aesthetic to Last Night that never actually released. But that one looked great, and I would say probably the how do you say, a Yudin Chronicle? Not sure if that's just I think that was a Kickstarter game, so I think that's just kind of a multi-plat. But that was the Suikoden devs that are making that game. If anyone played some of those back on the PlayStation, PS2. So those are probably my 3 highlights so far from what we hadn't seen before.
Guys, let's really talk about what stole that show. That refrigerator. I'm telling you.
I missed that.
I saw that refrigerator. I'm like, sold.
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, that was kind of cool.
That's gonna get scalped.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I could. Yeah, they were like, yes, we're really serious. Oh man.
My God.
No, that was good. That was good.
Did you feel like God, I wonder how someone feels building a bot to scalp Xbox mini fridges. I'm going to get all of them. I'm going to get every single one.
Right.
There's probably some good profit on there because the fridge probably is they're going to probably market that low unless they're doing.
Dude, it only holds a 6-pack.
Yeah, that could be $50 and they could upscale that on eBay for a good price.
Yeah, imagine selling that, like you put that in an Xbox Series Xbox and selling it, and you fool somebody. That'd be funny.
Oh.
It would suck, but it'd be funny.
Could probably return it.
Yeah, just
because it is like a replica. As long as you don't open it, I'm sure somebody would make that mistake.
I think so. Yeah.
Anybody see Plague's Tale? It's going to be in Game Pass day 1 when it drops early next year.
Well, again, that's another CGI trailer that they showed off. It looked cool.
Yeah.
It looked cool, but...
Was it CGI? It seemed like it was like showing in game when it was showing like the boy's face when it was showing the world, but maybe it was.
I would say it was CGI, but...
No.
But
that was a next-gen only game I was surprised about. I thought that would have been
They
like
said at the bottom
Xbox
that it
One.
was captured in-engine. So, that was Plague's Tale 2. That was all actually in-engine. Like, if you saw a cutscene from the Plague's Tale 1, it's like basically what you saw there. And that game looked great. Cutscene, all that stuff is all real-time. So, it looks really, really good. And that was actually a really surprising, weird game. Like, have you guys beaten it?
No, I've been meaning to download it, actually. But I know it's on Game Pass, but...
I think it's too long. Like, that's my criticism of it. It's pretty long for what it is, but it's a stealth game. If you love that, maybe it's not too long. But, I mean, you end up... I don't want to spoil it, but if I told you, you'd be like... It'd kind of be hard to believe, honestly. So, it's... When you get to the end of that game, it's pretty interesting. And the second one, to see them follow up, would be interesting to see as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they had a number of like smaller announcements too that they're very positive moves. Like for example, that game that won a lot of awards, Hades, that indie title, that game's coming to Xbox and Game Pass in August. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. You also had the Limbo developers. They showcased their game Somerville, which actually looked pretty...
That's why they looked familiar. I was like, this looks like Limbo. Or
yeah, Play Dead.
Second game they did. Yeah.
Limbo Inside.
Yeah, that's what it looked like more so. Inside.
Yeah, that's coming again, another 2022 game, so we're gonna have to wait a little while for that. But that looked cool. I liked what I saw there. There were a couple of there was 1 or 2 silly games. Did you guys see that game Party Animals by chance? That was kind of wacky. That's like another Game Pass one.
I will say right now that one's on my radar too. Anything I can get a moment to sit down and play some games with my wife, and don't ask me why. When we saw that on screen, we both were like, "Yeah, that looks like it'd be a blast to play together."
I think it's from the same people that made what's that game called? The Fall Guys.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it's actually. It's funny because it looks so dumb, right? It's like a derpy little stupid co-op fun game, but I mean, because it was so dumb looking, it was funny, and I was like, I'd probably try that, jump around and throw things at people. I don't know.
I think Battlefield made people forget about it being $70 and no single player. Yeah, that shit looks sick.
Good point.
The thing I say, like, hey, if you're gonna drop something like that, you raise the price and only screw a certain amount of consumers by doing that. The PC version is still 60. It's got better visuals, better resolution, frame rates, depending on your hardware. There's no reason it should be a price hike. But if you're going to tell us you don't have a campaign, you better show us why, because obviously we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt on anything. You're EA.
Well,
and you don't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So show us that map. Show us that trailer. And maybe we'll be like, holy crap. Okay, this is like on a scale that is seriously not just in terms of square footage or mileage, but just how high up these levels go into these skyscrapers and stuff, right? It's crazy, man. Like, there's so many people on the map, and I get what they're going for, so I'm not as hard up on it right now. I'll have to kind of see how different these maps are, I guess.
Like, I'll admit I'm in the camp that I'm still kind of hesitant, but at the same time, I do genuinely like the route they're taking with Battlefield 2042. The gameplay looks sick. Like, the stuff, the environmental destruction going on there, well, what did they showcase? There was wasn't there like a sandstorm going through the gameplay that they showed today? Just like you can call in tanks, you get them dropped to you, and just the number of players, like you said, dealer. It looked really good. It's just, I don't know, like you said, the price tag for 7 maps. It's like you really need to showcase those maps, and I thought they did a good job, but it's like at the same time, I don't know if the price justification is there necessarily, but it's very tempting.
Like for most, I feel like it's pretty much the same price. I could have sworn I paid $60 for Battlefield 4, and then the premium pass to get the extra maps, which were really big and detailed, was another $40. I swear it was like $100 back then, same as it is now. Plus, who completed Battlefield 4 single player? I don't think a single person ever did. Like, no one bought that game for that reason. And so I feel like I'm in the same boat right now. It's like, I played thousands of hours of Battlefield 4 multiplayer, never once even started the single player. And I'm going to spend the same amount of money. So either way, it's the same experience for me.
I think it's the principle, though, man.
Gen.
I think it's the principle that the game on PC is, and everywhere else, is $60. On the next gen consoles, is $70. You got the same feature set, across the board when it comes to player count, but the last gen systems are cut in half. And then on PC, you got every visual option and unlimited frames, the resolution according to your hardware. There's no part of that makes the next gen version more expensive than anything else, but they're doing it anyway, right? They're trying to usher in the precedent that all their stuff's going to be $70 going forward. And when we look at their books, you see how much money they're making. They don't need to do this. They just choose to do this, right? On top of adding the day one microtransaction DLC crap, on top of taking out the campaign. I played Battlefield 4 campaign, beat it. 3, beat it. Bad Company, beat it. I'm not going to advocate for less from a billion-dollar corporation. People will point to Battlefield 2 when they were an independent company. They've since been bought by EA, right? Like, I'm not going to ask EA to give me less. If anything, EA, they need to make up some damn ground, really, is my attitude towards those guys. I've got thousands of hours in Battlefield, and absolutely massive fan of the franchise. I don't feel like there's been a real Battlefield game launched this whole generation because of the way they took it after 4. And I've been waiting for something like this. I feel like I'm really like this game, but at the same time, I'm not going to say, don't give me a campaign. That's fine. Because I know they could have, I'm not happy with it, but the gameplay looks so damn good. It reminded me of Battlefield 4 and 3. I'm like, crap, so it's really alluring to me. And the way you can swap attachments on the fly, that shit's raw.
Oh, I saw that. That was shit. Because I remember you'd be pressing pause or wait till you die, and then like, okay, now I'll go into the menu and try to figure this out.
Wait till you die to respawn or spawn in to even change it out. So now you can do it in real time. It doesn't need to make sense. It just works, and that's cool, man.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say too, sorry, just give me a sec, Centurion, is that they also had like an extra year of development time as well than normally. Usually they only have like 2 years, but this time around they were given an extra year, and I don't know, I just feel like if they only have like 7 maps, granted they are massive maps, and they do look good from the couple that we've seen. But it's just, I don't know, for the amount of time and what we're getting content-wise, I don't know if it necessarily justifies the price point personally. But go ahead, Centurion.
I was just going to, and I'm glad you added on to Dealer's comments. Do you see with all the I will say resistance and hesitance with the fact that the game has dropped the campaign, it's up the price. Do you think it's still open for them to pivot like Square Enix did with Outriders and potentially putting DICE in? I mean, this new Battlefield game in Game Pass for a short while?
I mean, that'd probably be a great question for Tim. But I mean, honestly, I don't. People will point to, well, they want pre-orders. I mean, every game wants pre-orders, right? I mean, there are games announced today in Game Pass that put everything they have on the line. Probably Turtle Rock probably is an example of that since their last game flopped, right? Evolve. I would say that, yeah, of course they all want pre-orders. I feel like that's not going to stop them from announcing pre-orders on that stage there. Plus Xbox, that would be great marketing for Xbox. And if Xbox is going to do something like that, they don't want to wait. That doesn't benefit Game Pass. They want to get the message out there when everyone's watching this stuff. So, if Battlefield 6 were going to be in Game Pass, which I know we had some guys that, are super weird about this insider shit, trying to play Nostradamus, but I don't, apparently that's not the case as of right now. As far as we know, it's not going to be the case.
It's not needed.
Well, that's why I said pivot like Square Enix, because it almost didn't feel like Square Enix wanted to do Outriders in Game Pass day one, but the pre-orders weren't there, so they decided to pivot and do that. I'm curious, if the pre-orders aren't there, are they going to, by some chance, consider this like Plan B?
The pre-orders are definitely going to be there.
They're going to be there.
Because people have been waiting and pissed that it's been World War I, World War II. We're thinking Battlefield 5 was going to be back to, either present day or near future.
We've
been dying since 2013 to get another Battlefield.
They should have never called Battlefield 5, honestly. I mean, it's like a stain on the fucking numbered titles in my opinion. So you went
there's going to be
Battlefield 1 to
so
5,
many.
And what the hell is going on?
This is going to do numbers when that sucker drops in October? It's coming.
Yeah,
it's going to obliterate anything near it. I swear.
Mm-hmm. Call of Duty, apparently, I'm talking to a developer there. They're doing some really cool stuff too. So I guess we will have to see when that's going to be revealed, right? So that's going to be fun.
At least Titanfall 3 is not dropping this year.
Oh, man. Don't make the same mistake that Titanfall 2 did. Friggin' EA, too, right? Dropping Battlefield 1, right? What was it, the same week or the week after Titanfall? It was something like that. Oh, man. Talk about bad timing.
Battlefield maybe came out first, and then I think they dropped Titanfall and got killed by Call of Duty, probably.
Yeah. But, yeah, guys, I mean, overall, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good show. I don't know about grading by any means, but, I mean, I thought they covered what they needed to and, introduced, again, they were just, it was about bringing Bethesda into the fold and showcasing a lot of their stuff, obviously, with the Starfield and what was it, Redfall as well, the new IP, and also just adding a whole bunch of some of their older titles to Game Pass too, and just adding adding boosts to Doom and whatnot. There's a lot of good stuff there. What did you guys think? We were hearing all this stuff about studio acquisitions. Phil had kind of hinted towards the end there about the growing Xbox family. Do you think we'll hear about some acquisitions sometime in the near future?
Probably probably later this year. I'm sure it'd be in a presser like the Bethesda one is. It's kind of hard to plan those with the drop of somehow they did it with 2018, but some of those were already studios like Undead Labs and Playground that they're already working internally with, so they could kind of keep those under wraps, and then the other ones were mostly smaller ones. So some of the ones we've been hearing, it's probably like the Bethesda one where it's just going to get done when it eventually gets done. It's not going to be something they can easily hey, we want to announce this at E3. Let's try to get this done in the next week. It doesn't work like that sometimes. So, but I'm sure you'll hear them probably before, before some of these holiday, comes out. I'm sure in these next few months they'll probably hear at least one acquisition. I'm sure.
Yeah, like I didn't feel like we were gonna see any, just because again it was more about like Bethesda and whatnot, getting them into the fold. But again, like there was some like flip flopping going on with, like, I guess you would call them some insiders, some journalists, some people in the know. Like at first the Crytek thing was just made up, and then some people were like, well, there might actually be some truth to this, and then there was talk about IO. And again, Avalanche too, they did happen to be, again, they had contraband there with Xbox Game Studios. So again, who knows, all that's kind of up in the air. I just kind of, take it day by day, just kind of like, some things might make sense, but I personally didn't think that they were going to be there. But yeah, I mean, I think it would make sense to have them later on, like again at an XO event or something, like you said, Shock, or they could have something bigger on the line. So,
where'd they announce Obsidian? Was that at like a Gamescom?
They announced Obsidian and In Exile at the same event. It was XO18.
Oh, okay.
So just a couple of months after the big E3, where they announced like Compulsion, Playground, Ninja Theory, and so on. So yeah, Undead Labs, and there's another one. Like now they have so many damn studios. It's crazy.
It's funny how we know, like, just not infinitely, but like in the next like 5 years, we know like all these different projects, and because people are saying, oh, it's just about promise now. We're just a wait and see and promise, because that's what Xbox is doing now. And it's like, well, we have no idea what even PlayStation is working on past God of War and GT7. We have no other projects that we have no idea about, and we have a whole slate of projects we know about from all these different studios.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did notice too that they again, like in what was it, the last oh yes, well actually sorry, during what was it, Jeff Keighley's like Summer Game Fest, they announced there was a brand new studio announced, and that they're being funded by PlayStation. They're supporting their new IP, these Treyarch devs. I forget the studio off the top of my head, but sounded interesting from what they were talking about. Again, you have Jade Raymond's new studio. They're working on new IP. So there's different strategies going on here, obviously. PlayStation's obviously, this is how they're countering to Xbox's massive studio acquisitions over the past couple of years now. Obviously, they need to make some moves, and this is how they're doing it. And they don't really have the bank account to do what Xbox is doing, right? So... yeah, they can't.
Anybody have any insights on Crossfire X?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, obviously, Remedy's isn't releasing anything or announcing anything for any other games, but that they're working on. But it was supposed to drop last December, so I thought for sure it'd be in this show. Like, hey, it's coming out this year or next spring.
Yeah, I covered this recently, kind of. They had even had an internal thing saying that it was slated for this year. So the fact that it wasn't there, and Microsoft apparently is marketing, I'm guessing that typical Remedy fashion, some shit went south, and now it's going to take a little longer to come out than it was going to take, right? So it's also dependent on a complete separate studio building for the multiplayer, right? So there could be a couple factors, but COVID is the biggest factor of all, and we'll see how those guys have adjusted and adapted. I mean, I feel like it's hard to be upset at any studio that pushes stuff back. I mean, even Gotham Knights got pushed back like a year. We saw that in 2020, right? So, I mean, that was supposed to come out early this year. That's now confirmed for 2022. They didn't even show it off this year. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So maybe it's even next fall. I don't even know. But it has done damage. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Next year's pretty busy for them. Just from Bethesda alone, you're going to have Deathloop, Redfall, and Starfield. And not from all these other, Xbox studio pre-Bethesda Xbox studios. So I'm like, if they drop something in there, like maybe Forza as well, like that's going to be pretty stacked year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, 2022 is shaping up to be like the real start of the engine, the real like Kickstarter for like all like, the studios for Xbox. Again, like all these games that they were taking, like we knew that it would take some time. So, and they're gonna keep buying studios so that again these studios have time and takes pressure off their studios to make the games. So they're gonna keep buying whether they be smaller studios or hell even maybe another publisher. Who knows? But yeah, I was kind of surprised. Yeah, Crossfire X not being there, and I suppose a few other titles. But who knows? Maybe at Gamescom we'll hear something. You know, it could easily be like a drop that's a couple of months away. Maybe for a few other games as well. Hard to really say. But overall, guys, yeah, I thought the show was pretty decent. Would like some more gameplay in some ways, but I would like to see some other games that they had previously announced. But like a dealer said, the recent events of what happened over the past year or so have really affected game development, and we have to really give these developers a chance because a lot of these are massive games that they're building here, and it takes a lot of work. So gotta give them some breathing room and the time to focus on what they're doing. But okay, guys, I think on that note we're gonna start wrapping tonight's show up. You know what, guys, it was a really good discussion on Xbox's E3 showcase. Nice healthy discussion on what our thoughts were on their showings. It seems like we'll be getting some more information again on Halo Infinite in the coming days. And I gotta say, guys, a huge shout out to everyone that joined us in the chat tonight for the Xbox showcase chat that we had. Always happy to see all you guys here. DeGeeky Nerd, Fuzzy Belvedere. Oh, buddy, you were really active tonight. Duke Togo, thank you, buddy. AFC Violent, buddy, how you doing? Great to see you. Jesse Darby, Other Zinc, Toolman, JP Dunks, so many other people here. Binyabek, again, thank you, buddy. Man, I'm just trying to get through these here. I want to make sure I was here. Dreadpool, buddy, I didn't even see you sneak in there. Thank you. Shizno Elite, you're always here. And so on. Thank you, everybody. Surgeon, buddy, great to see you, and many more. Again, guys, if you happen to enjoy all the banter tonight, then consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel, and to share this out on your social media spot of choice. We'll get to the panel outros, and first up, Dealer Bud, I'll get to you first. Thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's been a very busy day, afternoon, or even couple of days, really, and it probably will be for the coming days, too, and then some. But thank you for your insight tonight, and, we've got to get you on again soon, buddy. Where can everybody follow you at?
If you're interested, you can follow me at dealer_gaming on Twitter. I space dealer space I on Xbox Live, and Dealer Gaming on YouTube. And check out the videos, the backlog, see if it's something you might happen to give a shit about, and say hi if you do. And thanks for listening, guys. If you haven't hit the like button and subscribe and support these guys, Invader is a good guy, and he's trying to run a good show here. So, yeah, thanks for having me on, and yeah. Good show.
Thanks, buddy. Much appreciated on that. TimDog had to leave early. His voice is strained beyond belief. He's really tired, pulling the E3 graveyard shift, if you will. But he'll definitely be back, kicking things into gear next Sunday. Eric Shockley, buddy, my friend. Good stuff tonight, as always. Some really good points. Where can everybody follow you?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at ShockNero on Twitter, EZShock on Xbox Live, and I think this might be the first Far Cry game I actually complete. Like, I own all the other ones, but I never have played them, or I never gotten to them. But definitely that 4K 60 stream, if you go back and watch it too, as well, look pretty sick, and some of the weapons pretty dope. So definitely interested into that. One of my highlights. So, but. Thanks for dealers stopping by, and have a great, definitely great show tonight. So,
yeah, did you see the DLC, something with the season pass, that they're going to be focusing on the villains of some of the previous games, like what is it, Voss and Min and all that?
Voss, Min, the father.
Yeah. Yeah, so that looks pretty cool. I mean, I saw the news about that. I was like, oh, that actually sounds like a pretty cool concept. So, You should look into that. And then to round this out, Centurion Buddy, again, really good show tonight. Again, I think overall pretty decent E3. Where can everybody follow you at, bud?
Well, actually, it was an awesome show tonight. And when it comes to E3, I'll just put it this way. I have been working way too much, and when you work too much, you want a game, but you get kind of just like, I don't want to do nothing. Watching E3 today has got me in the mood to want to just game hardcore and just put off all the work I'm supposed to be doing. So E3 kind of was a home run, at least for me. Thank you, Dealer, for being here. Also, for any of those interested, you can find me at Centurion1307 at Xbox Live, Twitter, and of course right here on YouTube. You can also find me every Saturday night on the Shop Podcast, and you can also find me right here every Sunday night on the TXR Podcast.
Yeah, you said it well, brother. And as per usual, this is Invader signing out, and you can find my content on YouTube over at Invader Gaming. As well, my content is on a number of alt media sites like BitChute, Minds, and so on. Definitely, you can just search my content there. Fantastic show tonight, folks, and we look forward to seeing you next Sunday. I hope you enjoyed the Xbox and Bethesda show, and we look forward to covering all the other news from all the other shows from the week. Catch you later, guys. It's been great.